Episode 146 Soul Land. Subscribes, likes, and comments. Thanks. 179, Tang San's 6th Spirit Ability, Nothingness, Instant Kill 8-Stage Drop. TL Bagelson. It wasn't that Tang San didn't want to use an even stronger Blue-Silver Overlord Spear, but actually because he basically didn't have time to condense one. Even if the required time had been curtailed a lot, his invincible golden body only lasted for 3 seconds. He didn't need to release spirit abilities, and the fairly considerable attack power of the Clear Sky Hammer was the best choice. The Clear Sky Hammer flew out, the front suddenly flashing with white light, the Death God domain already reaching its greatest power under Tang San's suicidal attack. Even though Yang Wudi's attack brimmed with power, at this moment he still had to retreat. Perhaps the Clear Sky Hammer wasn't enough to threaten his life, but those 8 chilling 8 spider lances could. That was a kind of intuition, the intuition of a spirit DouLuo level expert. Therefore Yang Wudi instantly made the best choice he could think of, his right palm sharply striking his soul-breaking spear, keeping his attack from weakening because of him separating from the spear, and he simultaneously flew backwards from the opposite force. Since the start of the battle, this was the first time Yang Wudi retreated. Of course, because he retreated, he successfully stayed out of the range of the 8 spider lances. Both palms closing before his chest, Yang Wudi gathered all his strength to block the flying Clear Sky Hammer in the air. Tool spirit avatars might be more powerful than spirit avatars, but they didn't have the same benefits for the body. The amplifications were almost exclusively on the tool spirit, and having lost the soul-breaking spear, Yang Wudi now used his physical body to take the blow of the Clear Sky Hammer. Ice-cold ultimately piercing aura first invaded him, and Yang Wudi felt his whole body go cold. A chilling intent filled with ruthlessness entered his body, and without the soul-breaking spear at hand, he was unable to block this killing intent from spreading through him. And the next moment, the Clear Sky Hammer smashed heavily onto his palms. Under the tremendous force, Yang Wudi's palms directly struck his chest, and his whole body flew out with his chest tightening, blood madly spurting out. However, he could still be considered having managed to block Tang San's all-in-one attack. But it was also while Yang Wudi was seriously injured by the Clear Sky Hammer, that Tang San's invincible golden body ended. The golden light vanished, and without the protection of the invincible golden body, Tang San immediately felt the terrifying attack of the soul-breaking spear. With a pu sound, bloody light burst forth, and that thick soul-breaking spear penetrated the right side of Tang San's chest, the terrifying 4-meter-long spear actually completely skewering Tang San's body and kept flying, entering the wall behind him and disappearing. Tang San swayed once, his face instantly turning pale, and the Clear Sky Hammer also disappeared in midair. Young Master. Tai Tan rushed towards Tang San with big strides, but at this moment, 2 extremely rich lights simultaneously spread from Tang San. Rich blue golden light rose from Tang San's right leg, instantly covering Tang San's entire body. And at the same time, red light suddenly erupted from Tang San's left arm, and appearing along with it were also countless blue-silver emperor creepers. Tang San hadn't released his spirit. Choked with pain, he was basically unable to accomplish any of this. Because of the piercing wound on the right side of his chest, even breathing was an issue. But under these circumstances, his blue-silver emperor unexpectedly appeared on its own. 6 spirit rings reappeared, and that final one, the glittering, enchanting red 100,000-year spirit ring abruptly flourished with splendor. An illusory pink silhouette quietly emerged within that ring of light, and the next moment, she was already dashing at the backwards flying Yang Wudi. Yes, that was Xiao Wu's illusion. Despite Tang San always restraining himself from releasing the 6th spirit ring, when he suffered such a heavy injury, his depleted spiritual force was no longer able to suppress the impulses of Xiao Wu's soul. Therefore, his 6th spirit ring Xiao Wu appeared. In an instant, Tang San's body subsequently turned illusory, and the blood immediately stopped spurting from his wounds within the nothingness. Xiao Wu's appearance in midair was no longer as tender and beautiful as when they confronted Bai He yesterday. Her charming face was demonic, and that illusory her was unexpectedly radiating an intense chill and desire for murder. Flinging back her head, the long and slender jet black scorpion braid twisted around Yang Wudi's neck. And Yang Wudi was still affected by the impulse of the Clear Sky Hammer attack, and a bit dizzy. Xiao Wu stepped on his lower back with one foot, bending her upper body at her waist, pulling her head back and pushing forward with her leg, sending Yang Wudi flying up into the air. Watching this familiar scene, Tang San also felt incredulous. He finally understood the full capability of Xiao Wu and his 6th spirit ring. Nothingness plus the Berserk Close Combat 8-stage drop. The scorpion braid quietly separated, the illusorily beautiful Xiao Wu catching up to Yang Wudi in the air. Having become Tang San's 6th spirit ability, not only had the power of Xiao Wu's 8-stage drop not weakened, it had instead grown stronger. Yang Wudi was actually thrown up so forcefully by the previous throw that he heavily struck the ceiling and rebounded back down. And Xiao Wu caught up just as he rebounded. The pink silhouette appeared where Yang Wudi would inevitably fall, both hands directly grabbing his waist, her slender waist bent as if broken, bringing Yang Wudi spinning backwards. Even if Yang Wudi wanted to resist now, the strike against the ceiling had prolonged his dizziness, and besides feeling the sky spinning and earth going round, he could only summon his soul-breaking spear again. Xiao Wu spun a full 2 turns in midair with her hold on Yang Wudi's clothes, and when she fell towards the ground, with rapid rotation from waist bow she brought Yang Wudi towards the ground with a hair-raising whistling sound. Yang Wudi wanted to use the soul-breaking spear to brace against the ground, but when spinning so fast, how could he see where the ground was? The dumbstruck Tai Tan and others closed their eyes almost simultaneously. The strength of this killing throw, spinning high in the air and throwing to the ground, could be well imagined. Yang Wudi was really out of luck today. Injuring Tang San had no doubt thoroughly infuriated Xiao Wu's soul, making Xiao Wu incarnated as the 6th spirit ability thoroughly erupt. After becoming a spirit ability, Xiao Wu's 8-stage drop had a supplemental stun effect with each throw, and consequently, as long as she could get a hold, it would be very difficult to dodge. And this spirit ability consumed next to nothing of Tang San's spirit power, just a bit of Xiao Wu's soul. After each time it was used, her soul strength would need 24 hours of rest to recover completely. In other words, on the premise that Xiao Wu's soul wasn't harmed, Tang San could only use this ability once a day. What Yang Wudi could do now was only to use his spirit power to cover his body, protecting himself within. But the next moment, the violent shock scattered his spirit power to fragments. After all, this breaking clan chief wasn't good at defense. Yang Wudi smashed heavily onto the ground. Xiao Wu swatted him flat against the floor, completely in a prostrating position. Yang Wudi gave a muffled grunt, his nose overflowing with blood, completely dizzy. The stun effect had arrived once again. However, this merely the beginning. Xiao Wu barely paused, both hands pushing on Yang Wudi's waist to do a backflip, both feet directly pressing on either side of his head and throwing him forward. Her hands let go, but her feet could display even greater force. Yang Wudi's body was driven by Xiao Wu's feet, and along with another backflip, was once again smashed onto the ground. Drawing on the counterforce from the second throw, Xiao Wu flipped over and back, smashing Yang Wudi back in his former place. Right now this breaking clan chief was like a burlap sack tossed around by Xiao Wu's feet, altogether 6 times. Around the third, his bones began making creaking sounds with each smash. Titan, Niu Gao, Bai He, the 3 chiefs watched this scene and agreed by chance to swallow at the same time. They could completely imagine the force of impact Yang Wudi was suffering right now. Besides Niu Gao, who still had some confidence in not being injured from being thrown around like that, even Titan had to ask himself how he would fare. Yang Wudi's blood had already splattered over by their feet. Finally, when Xiao Wu once again tossed around Yang Wudi, she didn't smash him straight into the ground, but rather threw him into midair. 6 successive throws were finished, and plus that midair spinning instant kill throw, there had already been 7. Xiao Wu leapt up once again, catching up to Yang Wudi in the air, both feet once again tightening on his neck. Xiao Wu, be lenient. Tang San's anxious shout saved Yang Wudi. When Xiao Wu looked at Tang San from the air, the baleful look in her eyes immediately turned tender. The feet holding Yang Wudi's neck like a vice released, right leg chopping down and directly smashing him into the ground, and she threw herself like a swallow into Tang San's embrace. Pang! Pitiful Yang Wudi smashed into the ground once again. Yang Wudi was now badly battered and bruised. If not for him constantly recreating protection with his more than 80 ranks of spirit power, Xiao Wu wouldn't even have had to complete the 8-stage drop's final terrifying 1080-degree midair spin and instant kill drop. Even if he didn't die, he would still have lost half his life. In fact, after becoming a spirit ability, 70% of the attack power of Xiao Wu's 8-stage drop was constantly stored up for the final throw. The previous 7 throws were all just to break the opponent's defense as far as possible. The present scene had already by far exceeded the expectations of the spectators. Yang Wudi on the ground was completely unconscious, and that nearly mortally wounded Tang San stood there easily. If Yang Wudi being thrown around until he was unconscious was astonishing, then everything that happened with Tang San's body was absolutely shocking. After his body entered nothingness, his wounds no longer bled, and that blue-golden light spreading from his right leg had enveloped his body and connected with the openings of the wounds. Immediately afterwards, under the stimulation of that light, the muscles around Tang San's wounds had started to squirm and swiftly grow at a speed visible to the naked eye, unexpectedly healing his wounds in such a bizarre manner. As Tang San shouted, blocking Xiao Wu's final 8-stage drop, the wound on the right side of his chest had unexpectedly already completely healed, even the bones beneath the skin gradually bulging. Besides the holes in his clothes that couldn't be repaired, by now he unexpectedly didn't show any signs of having been wounded. As if that soul-breaking spear really hadn't pierced his chest before. The illusory Xiao Wu looked at Tang San with a somewhat rebuking expression, then again glanced at the healed wound on his chest. Raising her right hand, she patted her own chest, heaving a sigh of relief, smiling sweetly at Tang San. Again raising her hand to point at the wishful 100 treasure purse at Tang San's waist, with a flash of her figure she then entered Tang San's 6th spirit ring and disappeared unseen. Tang San was injured so heavily, how could he recover so quickly? The 100,000-year spirit bone Xiao Wu had given Tang San possessed 2 potent abilities, teleportation as well as invincible golden body. But Tang San didn't have just this 100,000-year spirit bone. The one he obtained first was his mother's blue-silver emperor right leg bone. In fact, after Tang San's mother had entered the mature stage before sacrificing herself to become Tang Hao's spirit ring, how would the quality of her spirit bone be any less than Xiao Wu's? This was the other ability hidden in the blue-silver emperor right leg bone, besides flight. This was the second ability of the blue-silver emperor right leg bone that Tang San had discovered not long before. Otherwise, how would he have put himself in mortal danger in order to subdue the breaking clan? However, even Tang San himself didn't know what level this blue-silver emperor right leg bone ability could reach at its best. But he could be sure that the blue-silver domain in a location with blue-silver grass could be extremely advantageous to this ability. Right now, even though he was still pale, and his vitality had suffered considerable harm, how could that compare to being pierced straight through? He just needed to rest a few days for his body to recover completely. Yang Wudi's 2 followers were already scrambling to reach him and help him up. Fortunately Yang Wudi's spirit power was valiant. Even though he was confused and distracted by being thrown, and further adding the injuries from being struck by the clear sky hammer before, at least there were no major problems with his bones, though internal injuries were difficult to avoid. One of the two youths helped Yang Wudi back to his seat, while the other swiftly pulled out a porcelain bottle and poured out a few pills that he stuffed into Yang Wudi's mouth, then took out fresh water from a spirit tool to wash it down. Tang San believed that Xiao Wu's gesture at his wishful 100 treasure purse before leaving was to have him eat some foundation building medicines, and when he saw Yang Wudi take some, he also subconsciously stretched his hand into the wishful 100 treasure purse. There was still some dragon zoysia leaf remaining, and eating one was enough to swiftly help his strength recover. However, as Tang San's hand stretched into the wishful 100 treasure purse, his expression instantly turned bizarre, swiftly jerking his hand back out as if struck by an electric shock. Tai Tan was already walking over to Tang San's side with large strides. Niu Gao and Bai He had gathered by Yang Wudi, using spirit power to urge the medicinal effects. Tai Tan saw Tang San's abrupt motion and hastily asked. Young master, are you all right? Tang San nodded, saying to Tai Tan. Senior, I'm a bit tired, I'll return to rest first. Once Senior Yang Wudi wakes up, I'll trouble you to let him know I hope to properly discuss things with him in the afternoon. Seeing Tang San's pale expression, Tai Tan hurriedly nodded. I'll see you back. Tang San shook his head. No need. Senior Yang Wudi might have suffered internal injuries. You stay here. I'm all right. See. Speaking, he pointed to where the injury had been on his chest. The expression in Tai Tan's eyes immediately turned grotesque. He could of course see that Tang San's injuries miraculously healing wasn't the effect of any spirit ability. If it wasn't a spirit ability, then it was naturally a spirit bone. Spirit bone abilities were taboo for any spirit master to speak of, and even though he was inwardly extremely curious, he didn't ask anything else. Ma Hongjun wasn't as scrupulous as Tai Tan, and when Tang San refused Tai Tan's help, Fatty had already lent an arm to support Tang San, guarding his departure from the drawing room. With just one foot out the door, he couldn't keep from asking Tang San. Third brother, what's going on with your wounds just now? You scared me to death. Tang San smiled slightly, using voice transfer to speak to Fatty. That was a spirit bone ability, I call it. Wildfire cannot destroy the grass, it grows again with the spring wind. The moment after Tang San and Ma Hongjun left, Yang Wudi vomited, spitting out a mouthful of purple-black clotted blood, and awoke from unconsciousness with a long breath. The medicaments refined by the Breaking Clan were quite good, and even though his internal organs still felt as if on fire and his whole body ached, he could finally be considered having stabilized his condition. Having just opened his eyes, Yang Wudi first looked towards where Tang San stood before. Naturally all he could see was a pool of blood, and after discovering Tang San wasn't here, he couldn't keep his gaze from turning sluggish, looking in that direction in a daze without saying a word. But just how complex his current feelings were could be seen from his trembling hands. Tai Tan, Niu Gao and Bai He with tacit understanding didn't go bother him. Bai He was still constantly infusing Yang Wudi with his spirit power, helping him sort out his disorderly breath. After a long time, Yang Wudi's sluggish gaze gradually dulled, resisting the aches in his body to stand, stopping Bai He from continuing to pour out spirit power. This moment he seemed to have aged 10 years, his proud expression completely replaced by darkness. Bai He couldn't help speaking up. Old goat, no need to be discouraged, if it was any of us, there wouldn't be any difference in the result. Besides, you didn't use your 8th spirit ability. It was because you held back that he got a chance. Yang Wudi waved his hand at Bai He. No need to comfort me. A loss is a loss. Don't tell me I wouldn't admit it. While speaking, he swiftly took out several medicine bottles from his spirit tool and handed them to Bai He. Hold them for me. We have to see to that kid's injuries immediately. Bring me to see him. Having been pierced by the soul-breaking spear, if he isn't properly treated, there will be future complications. Bai He didn't take the bottles Yang Wudi held out, the expressions of the three chiefs immediately turning strange. Yang Wudi was alarmed, looking at Bai He. Don't tell me he died? But I clearly saw his right chest being pierced, as long as there wasn't too much blood loss, it should still be possible to save him. Niu Gao smiled wryly. That kid's abilities are even greater than we imagined. By the time you were thrown down, his wounds had already automatically healed. If I'm not mistaken, he should have already anticipated those injuries long ago, and that's why he confronted you head-on. Healed automatically. Yang Wudi's hand trembled once, the medicine bottles immediately tumbling to the ground. Fortunately Bai He reacted quickly, and caught them all with an easy move. Medicine couldn't be wasted. At the corners of Yang Wudi's mouth was a trace of pain. It seems I really lost thoroughly. How's that kid? Tai Tan said. Tang San didn't say. He went to rest first. He only asked me to let you rest first, and that he wanted to properly chat with you in the afternoon. Yang Wudi smiled bitterly. It seems I really should rest. Bitterly training attack all my life, but losing to a 60-something ranked youngster. Let's go, bring me back to my room. The two Breaking Clan disciples hastily supported him from either side. Walking away unsteadily, Niu Gao personally brought them to rest. Tai Tan and Bai He looked at each other, and Bai He sighed. This battle, it didn't just break the old goat's obstinacy, but also his confidence. Tai Tan nodded. It was a heavy blow to him, but considering it from some angles, it might not necessarily be a bad thing. After all, the old goat's attitude wasn't good. Bai He revealed a trace of a smile. It seems our 4 single attributes will really be reunited as a sect this time. Next, we'll see how that grandnephew of mine convinces Yang Wudi. I think he's eloquent enough. Tai Tan said unhappily. Old Whitebird, I've discovered that, among us, you're actually the most cunning one. Yesterday was all an act, in fact, you were willing as soon as you heard who Tang San was. Bai he laughed out loud, saying. You're just putting on an act. I'm very happy that my grandnephew is skilled, but at the start I didn't know he was my grandnephew. I find that I'm already starting to look forward to the future of the Tang sect. At least Outspeed clan won't have to worry about our livelihood again. Ma Hongjun directly returned Tang San to his room, and left after making sure Tang San didn't need anyone to protect him. Tang San didn't rush to cultivate, his current expression seemed very monstrous. Lowering his head, he looked at the wishful 100 treasure purse hanging at his waist without blinking. At this moment, he couldn't even manage to consider what he was going to tell Yang Wudi in the afternoon. Tang San had a full grasp on the insides of the wishful 100 treasure purse. Relying on his prestigious memory, he clearly knew the position of each herb. Xiao Wu's body was placed alone in a wide space. However, just now when he was going to stretch his hand inside to grab a dragon zoysia leaf, he suddenly discovered that he felt a peculiar softness. A softness that absolutely shouldn't be in his wishful 100 treasure purse right now. If he had to describe it, it would be a soft smoothness like recently peeled lychee, but not as icy cool, and rather soft and warm. What was it? Just what suddenly occupied this space in the wishful 100 treasure purse? Cautiously stretching his hand inside the purse, wanting to touch it again, Tang San discovered that the object he had previously touched wasn't there. Everything seemed to be back to normal. Suddenly recalling Xiao Wu, he hurriedly pulled her out of the wishful 100 treasure purse. Rabbit form Xiao Wu was still curled up asleep, that frosty mist around her grown even richer. The tremendous energy fluctuations within her could even be clearly felt in the outside world. Yet, after having eaten 2 first-rate immortal treasure herbs, if not for a body that had once cultivated 100,000 years, perhaps she would have exploded long ago. Looking at the sleeping Xiao Wu, Tang San inwardly had a sense of disappointment. Even he himself didn't know just what he had been hoping for. Tang San was indeed a bit tired. It was the first time he had experienced the blue-silver emperor right leg bones wildfire cannot destroy the grass, it grows again with the spring wind ability. By now the place he was injured before only itched, but he still felt very tired. He had spared no effort in his battle against Yang Wudi, using most of his tricks. In the end it was still because of Xiao Wu displaying that extraordinary 6th spirit ability that it came to this result. Now physically and mentally exhausted, he hurriedly ate a dragon zoysia leaf, immediately lying down to sleep. Intuition told him that what his body needed couldn't be provided by cultivation. Only completely relaxed sleep could replenish his exhausted vitality and vigor. Tang San's decision was naturally correct. Even though his body was human, having obtained his mother's spirit bone and spirit, a part of the blue-silver emperor's immortal characteristics was already part of him. Only, now he still couldn't completely unleash the power of the blue-silver emperor right leg bone, and in the battle today there hadn't been a lot of blue-silver grass in the surroundings. That's why he felt so tired. Just as he was falling asleep, Tang San's body began to radiate a faint blue light. This was a signal automatically issued by the blue-silver emperor. The blue-silver domain dispersed intangibly at its instinctive prompting. The size of this wasn't large, just a kilometer or so. All the blue-silver grass growing within this 1 kilometer range swiftly released their breath of vitality, pouring it into the body of their monarch. And they themselves also obtained the catalyst of the blue-silver emperor's aura, giving them the chance of evolution. It had been a very long time since he had slept this soundly, his consciousness completely submerged in his own mind, isolated from all awareness of the outside world. Tang San's vitality recovered at an extremely astonishing speed. But he wasn't the only one to change. Xiao Wu, fast asleep at his side, began to grow larger and larger at the same time as Tang San healed. Mirages constantly appeared in the white mist enveloping her body, unclear due to the white mist cover. All that could be seen was that it was a humanoid shadow. Snow-white skin, jet black hair. The white mist constantly released, and the whole room gradually filled with a faint misty haze. Within the mist, that constantly flickering shadow gradually grew more real, and fused together with that softly sleeping rabbit, constantly extending its body. The whole room filled with a kind of elegant fragrance, and within that fragrance, Tang San slept even deeper. In his hazy dreams, Tang San only felt as if something warm was pressed against his body, soft as cotton, surprisingly flexible, and as he turned over, he subconsciously pulled it close against his chest, continuing to sleep. In his dreams, he dreamt of Xiao Wu returning to him once again, and they closely embraced each other. He didn't know how long it was before there was a knock outside the door. "Third brother, are you all right?" Ma Hongjun's loud voice echoed from outside. The soundly sleeping Tang San was roused from his dreams, then discovered to his astonishment that it was already dark outside. "Fatty, what time is it?" Tang San asked subconsciously. While he asked this, he suddenly felt that something was wrong, because his body felt very heavy when he tried to sit up, and his right arm was even a bit numb. Looking down at his chest with his hazy consciousness, in practically an instant, all his sleepiness retreated like the tide. Ma Hongjun said outside the door. "It's already evening. Third brother, come eat something. That breaking clan leader is still waiting for your conditions." Tang San then reacted. "Fatty, you go first. I'll be there right away." Ma Hongjun heard that Tang San's voice was somewhat strange, but he thought it was because of Tang San's body being too exhausted from that previous battle, and didn't particularly mind. Agreeing, he turned and left. While Ma Hongjun left, Tang San pinched his thigh hard, his whole body trembled slightly. It hurt a lot. This moment he completely confirmed that he wasn't dreaming. In Tang San's embrace quietly lay a girl not wearing a thread of clothing. Black hair like a waterfall covered almost her whole body, her naked skin all pressed against Tang San, nestling up against him like a kitten. Tang San's right arm was numb because she had used it as a pillow. Her head was buried against Tang San's chest and her face couldn't be seen, but that skin, so soft it seemed it might break from the wind, was enough to drive any man insane. Tang San could clearly feel his body temperature swiftly rising. He was a young and vigorous ordinary man, and still a virgin. Under such circumstances, instinctual reactions appeared almost instantly. This was also why his voice was a bit strange. Tang San basically had no idea when this girl had appeared in his embrace, he really had slept too deeply. Could this be Niu Gao's scheme? No, impossible. Clan Chief Niu Gao wasn't that kind of person. Besides, he had just been injured, how could Niu Gao arrange a woman for him? But, if it wasn't his plan, how come she was in his room? The moment before he fell asleep, Tang San had felt 4 defense clan clansmen guarding outside his door. Outsiders couldn't easily enter with them there. Intense urges constantly assaulted Tang San's heart, and he immediately grew alert. He couldn't let desire conquer reason. And he could even less let down Xiao Wu. He twitched his right arm without hesitation, trying to pull it back. But when he moved, the young woman in his arms seemed to wake up, slowly raising her head with a yawn. The rubbing against Tang San's body as she did was another intense stimulation, but when that young woman had completely raised her head and looked at Tang San with empty and clear eyes, Tang San no longer felt any stimulation, his entire mind turning completely blank. That was a countenance as delicate as a pair of jet black big eyes with a hint of pink, peerlessly exquisite face without any makeup, but still so beautiful, and even more familiar. Xiao Wu. His trembling voice a bit hoarse, in just an instant, Tang San's eyes were already completely red, and moist. Yes, that incomparably exquisite mien only belonged to the most beloved in his heart. Perhaps there might be another woman who could match her in beauty, but in Tang San's eyes, she was the only one for him, and nobody could compare. The arms he originally wanted to let go with suddenly tightened, pulling that puzzled and helpless girl into his embrace, as if he wanted to merge together with her. Even though he had already pinched himself hard, Tang San was still so afraid that this was a beautiful dream. Hugging the completely naked Xiao Wu, his heart didn't hold a single wicked thought, only boundlessly intense love. Xiao Wu's gaze was still vacant and lifeless, but in Tang San's fiery embrace, her white lotus-like arm slowly rose, very naturally holding his neck, her facial expression partly reluctant to let go, but the expression in her eyes still so vacant. Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu. Do you know how much I've missed you? Why would you be so stupid, to sacrifice yourself for me? Don't tell me you believe that, after losing you, I could still survive the longing? If not for the shred of hope for revival, I would already have followed you. Tang San's voice was choked with emotion, tightly pulling his most beloved against his chest, the softest places in his heart constantly trembling. Smelling the sweet fragrance Xiao Wu exuded, an unprecedentedly joyful feeling filled every corner of his body. He would prefer time to forever stop at this moment, forever, forever. Episode 146 ends here. Thank you for coming. Comment your thoughts to share with the community. See you next time.